Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RVing in New England. It is Wednesday. Wow, we took a week off last week. Let me get my buddy in here to see if any of you missed us at all. Hey,
Bob, I
John.
know they've been on RV withdrawal because we were not available last week.
They must have gone a whole week without seeing us. I guess they would. It should be a great show tonight. We got Joel Holland from Harvest Host return visit, and boy, they've just done some great things with that company. And I mean,
it is the deal of the century. Now we've got, not only do we have some deals tonight, but we have some contests. We have everything imaginable. And back in my house tonight, we were 2 weeks ago. We were at Fuller RV, and we're going to start getting back out on the road again next week, and bringing our viewers to some new locations in New England, some tourist places and everything like that, because you know what? This is the time of year when you got that RV, you don't want it to be sitting in the yard. You want it to be out having fun. And I know you're heading out
right
next week. You're heading out, and we're going on a family cruise.
When you think about it, all of our viewers and fans, they're out on the road enjoying it. So why shouldn't we be?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't let them have all the fun.
No.
Not much going on this week. Well, there's a lot. I mean, the dealers are busy, but Hemlock Hill started their inventory reduction sale. So they've got some great prices down there in Southington, Connecticut. I think that's about the only one that I've heard from the dealerships so far. So if anybody wants to,
and you know what, the dealers that I've been to around here locally, they're busy.
They are.
Sometimes there's a little bit of a lull in July because people already have their unit that they ordered, back in show season. But the thing that we're seeing is people are upgrading. I mean, they're liking their RVs. And the thing that I've had our dealers tell us about is they're selling a lot of units now to people that already own them. And they're trading them in and getting another one. And it's always nice when you can deal with people that are on their second and third. And, I've had dealers that tell us, I know that down Hemlock Hill, Andrew, Chris was telling me that when I was down there a couple of months ago, that there are families that are on the third generation of motorhome. The third generation is buying. And as he told me that, somebody had come in and was, in fact, a third generation. And when Chris's family owned the campground before they had the dealership, they used to camp right near them. So it's always nice to hear those stories.
Well, and that's a double win. When you think about it, there's so many people buying new RVs that they're trading in some tremendous units. They just want to have a new one.
Yep.
So the sales are good on pre-owned units. The sales are good on new units.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is there are people that say, oh, you know what, I don't want to buy a new one because I don't know if I'll like it. So they'll go the pre-owned route. And the fact that people that are – the thing that we've found, and I think you and I have discussed this before, it's amazing the number of people that trade every 3 years.
Yep.
They don't put – in New England, you don't get 12 months use out of it. So they are gently used at that stage.
Yeah. Let me see who we got here.
Yeah.
We got Jerry. Well, actually, let's bring up Joel, and we'll go.
That's right. We do have a guest. Right.
Yeah. We do have a guest. We do have a guest. It'd probably be nice if we bring the guest on. Hey, Joel.
Guest.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Fantastic.
Joel, you're joining us from tonight.
I'm joining you from Vail, Colorado.
And the local time there is what, 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock. It's sunny. It's kind of a beautiful night. And I'm excited to talk RVing because I'm next Thursday. I'm jumping in the RV and heading across the country. So starting a couple month road trip, which I always love.
Yeah. And you did tell us last week.
You have to inspect all your properties, though. You have to inspect all the farms and the wineries and make sure you're living up to your code of honor and your the quality of service that you want for people.
You got to taste all the wine, make sure it still tastes good in every state. Yeah.
But don't worry, Joel, because Bob and I are Bob's heading out next week with a couple of your places, and I'm heading out in a couple of weeks after that. And so you've got 2 more ambassadors, if you will.
I love it. Yeah, and we were talking about, I'm going to get you the shirts, the bright purple Harvest Host shirts, so no one will miss you.
I I do want to get to the comments early because they jumped on really quick. Because I know.
Oh, Jesse.
And guess who's up there? Jesse's the vet from. We're talking about Hemlock Hill. Jesse's the sales manager. He says, "Hey, we'll help you move out of that old unit into a new one." And one day turnaround on what's in stock and new to get you out camping. Jesse, you're always on top of the ball. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. And Jerry Plant down at Major's RV stayed at a great Harvest Host location on the way home from upstate New York. Jerry, let me know which one, because I'm heading out Monday, eventually winding up at Winnebago, but I got a Winnebago Bolt Class B for the next 3 weeks to play around with. And I'm looking at some wineries up on New York on my way by. We got Tom Zabrowski. Hi, guys. The New England area campers are watching with him, including John Trappigan. John,
the new president. John is the new vice president?
He'll be taking over as the new president of the Northeast region. Congratulations, John. That's our friends at FMCA. And Joel, you got we'll get you in touch with these guys. Are you doing anything with FMCA in terms of any kinds of affiliation? Because FMCA members would jump on this Harvest Host thing like crazy.
Oh yeah. We love FMCA. In fact, we partner with them in a number of ways. We have an exclusive discount for their members. We also offer our members an FMCA discount on our discount dashboard. And then we do email promotions every once in a while, supporting discounts specifically for their members. And then we try to sponsor some of the events. So yeah, I think FMCA is one of the greatest things to happen to RVing.
And I think discounts are one of the greatest things to happen to Harvest Hosts. And I think Bob has a discount. I don't know if you can put the link up, Bob. It appears that, okay. So where's he going to put discount code?
Go to harvesthost.com. and join. Now, here's the deal. If I screw this up, Joel, tell me. But if you join tonight, there'll be a 15% discount. Just use this discount code NERVDA, and the first 5 people who join will get a pair of Harvest Host sunglasses.
You got a pair there, Joel, that you can.
Yeah. I should have grabbed a pair. Yeah. When we take a break at some point, I'll run and grab a pair. Okay. I'll see if my wife can grab a pair because they're cool. Bob, they're like white and purple, and they're really cool.
Bob, we shouldn't restrict it to tonight because we have our thousands of viewers that watch
that's right. No,
the replay.
That's right. That's right. No, the code. How long does the code stay up, Joel?
That code will stay up for you guys forever. Yeah, I mean, it's a 15% discount
15% on that.
Yeah. So why don't we extend it, Bob, a little bit to anybody who signs up in our lifetime? We'll get we'll get the discount. But
the other nice thing about the discount is that it is not just off of your first year of membership. It's 15% off forever. So if you stay, as long as you stay a member, that discount never goes away from your cost.
Membership, your investment, Joel. It's not a cost.
Your investment from your asset purchase, right?
Investment, right? Exactly.
Let me see what we got here. Ed Latour on. Hey Ed, you joined right at the touch of 7:00 tonight. Thank you. Hope you're feeling better and doing well. Jose is on from our Rolling On TV, and Jerry Plant. Harvest Host is doing golf courses now.
Oh,
hey Jerry.
Audrey Foley Egan.
I think Jerry thinks he's the co-host. He's going to want a contract next year.
Audrey wants to hear about it, and we've told them. Now, Audrey Foley Egan, can you see the names there, Joel? The names of the comments. Okay, they were our guests about 3 weeks ago. And
I don't see Audrey. Where do you see Audrey?
Audrey's down there. She's right on at 7:01, right next to Jerry. But they had about, 4,000 or 5,000 views. I think because Audrey's in the computer business, I think one person watched it, and then she just messed her computer up in order to make more people look like
Audrey. Now, Audrey wouldn't do that, would she?
No. Okay, so Rose's Berry Farm in Glastonbury, Connecticut. Wow, that's interesting. Glastonbury, Connecticut, Jerry? Wow. And look at Jerry. He said, Jerry, just take over. Bob, you and I can leave. Jerry's taking it. He goes, HH is doing golf courses now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Rolling On TV. Hey, we got to do a Rolling On segment on this.
Yeah. You haven't done anything with Rolling On TV, have you, Joel?
Well, so we love rolling on TV, and we love Jose and Michelle, and we actually on our website we promote them there at the bottom of every page. I think created Michelle was out actually creating some content on the road about Harvest Host and her stays,
Well,
and that was
been doing
really
something
cool.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So since the last time you came on, you have added golf courses. So tell us how that works.
Since the last time he came on.
Huh?
Since the last time he was on, the golf courses weren't there.
That's what I said. Since the last time.
Yeah,
that's right.
You skipped a couple words, but
yeah. So we've added. So we are. I think the number one thing that we focus on is adding new locations, and because without locations we have nothing, right? So Harvest Host is all about wonderful small businesses, wineries, breweries, golf courses that our members, RVers, can stay with overnight for free. And so once I took over the company, I hired a couple of full-time people to focus on host recruitment. And we now have a head of host relations, Dawn Cole. She's wonderful. And she's constantly reaching out to recommendations from members. We get tons of recommendations, which is very helpful. And then helping to onboard these new hosts. So with golf courses, we purchased the RV Golf Club. And so that was an existing company. They'd done a good job building up golf course inventory with a very similar model to Harvest Hosts. So we acquired them towards the end of last year, moved all that over to Harvest Hosts, and we now have roughly 350 golf courses, but we're adding about 20 new ones every month. And so that's been really wonderful. And they've been well received.
I think it's very important to point out here to people that are viewing us for the first time and hearing about the golf course, this is not necessarily for you to, even if you don't golf, these are still great places for you to enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Yeah. And in fact, I don't have the exact number, but it's like less than 10% require a round of golf. Some of them do require it, but very few. It's on the host page. When you look them up, it'll say whether you have to play, but the vast majority do not require golf. And you can, have a nice meal, have a nice drink, at the restaurant, get a nice breakfast before you hit the road. Golf course food's wonderful. I mean, and so that's like, I like staying on golf courses because it's always a beautiful setting and you grab a wonderful breakfast before you head out. And
it's usually a good clientele that you're nearby, that is nearby.
Do you have any of them that will pay me not to golf?
The other 90%.
That's interesting.
They'd be better off if I didn't hit the links at all. Yeah. Do that.
And
I'll inquire for you.
Joel, let me explain something here. When you go into the winery, and I should say this because I'm an alumnus. I'm a 1-year alum. We enrolled in the program last year. Went out to Geneva, New York, to the Finger Lakes, and I can tell you that the scenery from there couldn't have been better. We were overlooking one of the lakes, and the wind was coming across, and it was just great. In the winery itself, as soon as we said Harvest Host, they came around from around the corner and gave us a hug and said, "Oh, we love you people. This is what we've got, et cetera, et cetera." Now,
I love that.
$120 later, thanks to my wife, about 4 bottles of wine. It would have been cheaper to stay in the camp. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but then you don't get to have the wine.
Right,
so
exactly.
There's the rub.
Exactly. And then the next night we were in Geneva, Ohio, and stayed at another place. We have a granddaughter named Geneva, so that we only stay in towns named Geneva.
Nice.
And it was the same thing. As I said to you earlier, it was a Sunday, and the winery was closed per se, but the owner lived right next door, came over and opened up the shop. And I think that cost me only $90. But the cool thing is there's local wines that these guys brew that you're not going to find, at a Trader Joe's or somewhere, in a mainstream store.
Right.
But the thing that I think is cool with the golf is you've got generally full service, high end, if you want to be, restaurants where at night, say you get there late at night, you can go in and, have a big meal, or in the morning, because golf courses open early because people go out right at sunrise, you can have a breakfast, or if you want to sleep till the crack of noon, they've usually got, like Jerry said, was so true. They've usually got very good dining facilities at golf courses.
Right.
Even if you don't golf, like Zagami and I.
That's right.
And even if you don't want a big meal, they already got the 19th hole. You can always grab a hot dog in between rounds, or a hot dog and cheeseburger for lunch before you head back out on the road.
Or Jack Daniels.
Well, I was going to say my favorite thing with golf courses.
I have to call in advance to make sure they have Jack Daniels. That's true.
Yeah. There's nothing like sitting on the 18th hole, having a drink and watching the pain and misery of the golfers try to get that last hole like locked up. It feels great.
They're sweating to beat the band.
Yeah,
and they're looking forward to that bar.
That's right.
Speaking about my favorite beverage, have you talked to Jack Daniels, Joel? Because they've got a tremendous parking lot down there, and they would be perfect. It's another distillery. They got all kinds of room in Lynchburg. Now it is a dry town. You cannot buy stuff. Well, you can buy special bottles at the distillery now, but it is a dry town, believe it or not. But you got wonderful downtown Lynchburg. It's a tremendous stopping off point. It's only about hour and a half south of Nashville.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, that's a good tip. We'll reach out to them because that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, everybody, most good people drink Jack Daniels. So
yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Audrey has a good question there.
Are the Harvest Host sites okay with pets?
Oh wait,
yes.
That's her top one. Okay, yeah. Some of them that I was checking out had pets. Yeah.
Most. Okay. So actually, and this is probably our number one question. So great question, Audrey. Are hosts pet friendly? Because many of us RVers travel with pets. Yes, the vast majority, I'd say 90% of our hosts are pet friendly. Again, there's actually, as you search, we have a filter so you can check a box and only see results for pet friendly hosts. But really the only ones that don't allow it are special farms that have farm animals that are spooked by pets, but very few of those. Yeah.
That's interesting. Audrey had another one there too. She said, will the beer cart visit campers? Probably not, Audrey. Probably not.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah. She wants to be able to put in a call and see if they'll just come over to the motorhome so she doesn't have to head out there to do that. But I suspect she probably has enough in the refrigerator, so she's probably being very kind there.
Yeah, she'd already stocked up at all the other Harvest Hosts she visited.
Yeah, exactly. And another tip: the Maine has the Maine Brewers Guild, probably similar to what you were talking about in Chicago or something, but or where you were talking about. Who's going to do Ohio is going to do
Ohio.
Winery, right?
That's right. So I've been reaching out to a lot of these state winery associations. And so, the Maine Brewers Guild, that's a great idea because I've worked my way now through all of the wine associations for every state. Now I can move on to brewing associations
we have
and distilleries and that sort of
thing.
We're up to something like 157 microbreweries in Maine.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorites, we were talking about this earlier, but Boothbay Craft Brewery in Boothbay, Maine, is a Harvest Host location. They make wonderful beer. And in fact, their IPA was an award winner as of last year when I went and visited. For good reason, it's delicious. But the setting's incredible. I mean, it's just, it's one of these picturesque, Maine, New England towns right on the water. And we do, I see Susan was saying we need more Harvest Hosts in New England. I agree. And we're working hard to add more locations in New England because I think, New England is just such a special area, especially in the fall. And so if we can add more, we certainly will.
Well, we'll put something out to our dealers and our fans and any of you who are on tonight, feel free to throw a couple of suggestions down there because you're right. We've got a lot of places around here to do it. John, you must have some friends down the Cape or some places down the Cape that would work out well too.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, we're not talking about bringing 50 units in. And I think it's important to point out that you're not going to get stuck in a crowd. I think the most units that I've seen a place accommodate is like 6 or 7, but most of them are like 1 or 2. So you're not going to be jammed. And, I think that's very important to point out. The other thing I think it's important to point out, Joel, if you just go into a brief synopsis of how you got into this gig, because you are an RVer. And I think your story is very interesting. Would you share that with our viewers?
Can I ask you to hold that? Go get the sunglasses and have John do his quick commercial.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Okay. So while he's heading out there, we want to tell folks that it's 20 after the hour, and that means it's time for us to ask you to please share this. Now, I've been saying this for weeks now, and some of you do, some of you don't. But the thing is this, the more you share, the more people view it, and the more sponsors we can get on to give away free stuff, because we're at that critical point now. We've been on for a year and a half. We're getting, like last week, like 6,800 views. The week before that, 4,800 views. And when you figure the average show on here gets less than 50 views, even when you look at the blogs that a lot of RVers have, they're 50, 60, 70 views. We get thousands. So the only reason we do it is because of the great folks like you that will just take a moment right now to hit a share button on your camera and share that. And Bob, I know you want to bring up something unless our butt. Oh, there he is.
Hey.
It looks like Elvis. I don't know.
And you too could be an owner of these very cool sunglasses.
That was another marketing tip.
There we go.
Have you got Graceland down in Memphis yet?
No, I don't think so. Definitely not Graceland. I wonder what we do have in Memphis, because that's.
Well, Graceland has a campground, so they probably they want the revenue in the campground. But show us those sunglasses.
There you go.
Wow.
Okay, so what are we doing? What are you sending us? 4 or 5 pairs of those that we're going to.
The first 5 people. The first 5 people that sign up.
Yeah.
Are going to get the first 5. That'll be probably for tonight. So we ought to hit 5 people tonight. But the first 5 people. But the discount, the 15% discount, is good forever and ever.
Yeah,
that's right. And you know what? I'll go ahead. I'm going to send you 10. Let's give out 10 of them. They're so cool. And they're actually, I wasn't sure how the quality would be, but I love them. And I wear these all the time. They're it's like a graduated darkness. And so at the bottom part is lighter. And so it's easy to read or look at your phone while it's blocking the sun up top. So I'm actually a big fan of these glasses.
So they're very technology advanced sunglasses.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're tech forward.
You're a tech guy, so I'm sure you went through several vendors before you found one that would be just right for Harvest Hosts.
That's, of course, yes, absolutely. Tested and tested.
I bet.
So, Bob,
Tom Zabrowski says we got to get some more in the Northeast area. Well,
no. Before that, look at his line before that. Lots of golf courses. I used to belong to the golf organization you took over. A lot of the golf courses in the Northeast. You have to work around what Tom's writing. Lots of golf courses.
So, Tom, do you have
puzzles?
No, I think they're around the campfire, and I got to see how technology challenged they were. I told him to put it on a widescreen TV because he had John and his group of FMCA buddies there. So I said, well, you got to put it on widescreen TV, or at least something big. And he said, well, he'd have to wait until Connie got back because Connie's apparently the only one that can hook up the computer to the TV. So he may be watching it on the laptop.
We should kind of tease our audience because there have been new technological advances made in our program here, this Be Live program that we use. And coming up in a few weeks, as soon as Agami learns how to do it, not that I want to put the pressure on him here on air, but we'll be able to put a link up, and some of our guests, like Audrey or Jerry, can come right on with us.
Right.
And, have live guests from the studio audience. And
you're right, John. They just released Studio 2.0, so I'm hoping that while I'm on my trip, I'm not going to work a lot, but I can play a lot. But as soon as we're proficient in that, which will be within that, I hope I can finish it up before I get out to Winnebago, because next week we have Go Power with solar electricity systems, and the week after that'll be the 17th, and the 24th I will be at Winnebago, and Mike Happy will be our guest. So it'd be nice if I could figure that stuff out before I get to Winnebago on the 24th.
See, Joel, we don't, last week we had a vice president, we had a senior vice president on, but we're going to the presidents. We get the presidents of Grand Design, the presidents of Winnebago, the presidents of Tiffin.
President of Harvard Host. I mean,
Right.
You know,
Residents, yeah, they're great. I mean, go straight to the top.
We're way up there, man. We're way up there. We go right to the top.
This is a
Yeah.
choice. This is a choice assignment, Joel.
That's
Okay.
right.
So, Bob, do you have anything important? Do you have anything
Huh?
important, Bob? Do you have anything important to say before we go back to Joel and have him tell us the story? And then we'll go back to Audrey. This is the time where we get something important to say.
Well, I don't, but I did want to throw this up there because this one intrigues me, and I haven't digested all of the attractions yet, Joel. But do you, off the top of your head, know which one of your sites this is? Because I love aircraft museums. I'm going to be making a stop at the Museum of the U.S. Air Force out at Wright-Patterson for my, as my wife says, my 5th visit to the museum. But you just can't spend enough days out there. But this looks like some type of a museum.
This is the Erickson Aircraft Collection in Madras, Oregon.
I'm not going
On your way.
That's not
On your way, Bob.
No, but we do have a number of really cool outdoor aircraft museums and outdoor automobile museums. And so I think you'll be able to find some. I'm just quickly like doing this on my computer here, but we do have some really nice ones on the East Coast.
Okay. Now I think I sent you the link for the new museum we have here in Hudson, Mass, the American Heritage Museum. If I didn't, I will send it to you. We have a brand new museum.
That'd be great.
World War II equipment and history. And Bob Collings, who owns the Collings Foundation, but he sponsors the Wings.
It's a bunch of old planes.
Wings of Victory tour, and he restores and flies. His foundation has restored B-24s, B-25s, B-17s. I mean, they just old Mustangs. They just got great stuff. Wings of Freedom tour, and that. But I'll send you the links to that. So Tom says no can do. Apparently Connie's not back yet. Okay.
So
Audrey says.
Bob,
You take Audrey.
Bob, wait. Audrey can wait.
Okay.
She's got nothing to do.
You can wait, Audrey.
Joel was going to tell us his background because he is an RVer, and he was going to tell us about how he took this trip and then found out about this company. Joel is the Victor Kayam of RVing. He liked the company so much that he bought it. So Joel, go ahead.
Joel is not old enough to remember Victor Kayam.
Joel, do you know who Victor Kayam is?
No, I thought you were going to say Kaiser Sose. I was like, that. No, I'm not Kaiser Sose.
Okay.
Joel
Kayam was a guy who owned Remington razors. I don't even know if they exist anymore.
No.
But he says, I liked them so much that I bought the company. And he had a giant ego because he was in all of the TV commercials. So you liked Concept and Harvest Host so much that you bought it.
That was his line. I liked the company so much I bought it. Okay.
Which is actually, I think, a wonderful way to do business. And that was, so my background, the quick summary was I was a technology entrepreneur on the East Coast in the Washington, D.C. area, built a video technology company, spent a number of years growing it to 100 employees, quite a large business. And in that process, I really burned out. And I was really tired of being in a cubicle, being locked down in a city with a ton of traffic. And one day I turned to my wife and I said, why don't we just get up and go? Like, why don't we try this road trip thing? Like, I've always romanticized the idea of the great American road trip. What better way to do it than in an RV? And so we rented an RV, we tested it out. This was before there were cool companies like Outdoorsy let you peer-to-peer rent. So we rented a crummy RV from, one of these one of these like groups. And in spite of that, we had such a great time feeling free, waking up every day, picking our path, choosing where we wanted to go, having our own food on board. It was awesome. So we fell in love with it. And so
It should also probably be pointed out here that you probably had a few $1 million in cash stuffed under the mattress of that rented RV with you after selling that tech company. Does that make it a little bit easier?
No. I don't think putting money under mattresses is ever a good idea. So
you still had a few million though.
No, I don't know. But what I did have was a wanderlust and I just like a love of RVing, and like it hit me quickly. So we pretty impulsively we came back to Virginia. And went to an RV dealership in Manassas, Virginia, and literally walked the floor, found one we loved. It was a fifth wheel by Grand Design, the Reflection. It was the first year, it was 2014. So it was the first year that Grand Design was manufacturing a unit. And we saw this thing, and we're like, we love this. We love everything about it. So we bought a truck, we bought the Reflection, and we hit the road. And it was quite an experiment, because I didn't know if we were going to continue loving it, or if we'd if we basically get over RVing and miss having a house. But 48 states and a few years later, we still loved it just as much as when we started. And so for me, it was like, okay, I've had a few years of fun traveling to all this, all the lower 48, saw amazing things, but I'm ready to do something else again productively. Like I want to be in business again. I'm getting bored.
And that's very common of entrepreneurs that turn over companies quickly. They want to get back in the game. Would you say that that's true?
It's 100% true. And it's funny. I watch everyone that goes through a very similar path. They're burned out. They leave the company, sell the company, whatever it is. They go for some sort of freedom, whatever their poison is. For me, it was RVing. And at first you're just like, it's the best thing in the world because you feel so free and so liberated. But at a certain point, and it's usually after, a year, 2 years, you start to feel kind of guilty. Like it's like all the fun, but without any of the work. And without that contrast, it's just not, it doesn't taste as good. Yeah. And so freedom tastes better when there's a little bit of hard work behind it, at least I found. And so I struck out to find the next thing. And I sat down, I said, what do I love? Love technology. I love RVing. I love memberships and subscriptions. That was the last business I had built. How can we put all these things together? And one of the things that constantly Mary Ashley and I had noted as we drove across the country was, wow, look at all these beautiful farms and all these wineries. Look at all that space. Wouldn't that be cool to boondock there for the night? Why can't we do that? And I thought this was such a novel concept. Came to find out there was this wonderful company called Harvest Hosts run by Don and Kim Green. And they had done that. They basically built this network of hundreds of locations that allow RVers to stay overnight for free. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, this is random, totally cold, but I'm a Harvest Host member. I love what you've built.
And I want to buy your company.
Would you be open to selling? and the answer was no. I mean, at first Don was like, look, I appreciate it. We've had offers in the past. We really enjoy this. And we don't think that we want to sell it. And so I got to know them over the course of a few months and really convinced them that I was genuinely interested in this industry, that I was not just an entrepreneur looking to make a fast buck.
That you were an RVer.
That we were RVers, that we literally use the Harvest Host program. We appreciated it, and we would do our best to make it better, never worse. And so that was kind of my promise to them. And I think, this has now been over a year later. We've doubled the number of locations in the network. We've grown membership quite a bit, but not to outpace the number of locations we have. We've completely rebuilt the website, rebuilt the apps, made it a lot easier to search and find hosts. And we're going to continue doing that. So we're actually investing, right? We're investing quite a bit of money in hiring employees, in the technology, and then of course in advertising, which everyone's probably seen through Facebook and other social media channels, really getting the word out about Harvest Hosts, because I genuinely think it's one of, like, as an RVer, there are certain things you need in your toolkit. You need an RV, you need a good SAM membership, you need a KOA membership, and you need a Harvest Host membership, right? There's just certain things you have to have. And I think Harvest Host is one of those things. Yep.
Well, I know you're good friends and our good friends, Mike and Jennifer Wendland with RVlifestyle.com. Mike just does a great job on his videos, and Jennifer too, but they've done a couple of ones from Harvest Host locations. I just watched one the other night, prepping myself for my trip to see what they like, but I know they're going to be doing some more. So I can put a link up to some of their videos also that showcase some of the Harvest Hosts. But I've watched this thing now since you took it over. Of course, John and I were one of the first ones that did a video with Don and Kim when I think it was their first trade show. But I don't understand why anybody with an RV wouldn't join this organization. I mean, it's not about the free camping. It's just about the great camping. I mean, every time you read stuff, and we work closely with all the private campgrounds in New England. They're trying to meet the needs, but we're getting more and more people. They the campgrounds have not expanded fast enough. You hear people complain they can't get a reservation. They can't, when they do, it's tight quarters. I mean, just the experience that you provide on sitting out there. I know the one I was looking at the other night that I want to stay at up in the Finger Lakes, up above Seneca Lake, bottle of wine, cheese, relaxation, nice breeze at night. Yep. Nobody else, maybe there'll be one more or two more RVs there, but it's really the experience.
Yes. It's the experience and the stories, right? So I've been to a million campgrounds and I like campgrounds. They serve a really good purpose. I don't have a ton of stories from campgrounds, whereas every Harvest Host location I've ever visited, I leave with a unique story, right? It's either a story about the nuns who I visited in Kansas who were running a farm and I got a massage from a nun. That was a really cool story.
That's a hell of a story.
Hell of a story. And she was 80 years old and a wonderful masseuse. Oh. That was just something new for me. And then, I've been to wineries where you get to watch the proprietors who are pouring themselves into this product because they love it and they love to share it. And so you get to, I've gone on grape stomping tours. I've gone behind the scenes to see how they bottle. And a lot of times a host will let you participate if you want, right? If you want to stomp on grapes, we have hosts to let you do that. If you want to bottle stuff, we have distilleries that let you do that. So it's just a really it's great stories. I mean, it's RVing where you get a really cool location and a great story out of it. Yeah.
I got to tell you a story because I've been dying to tell this story. I've been waiting for the appropriate time in the show to tell it. So last year when my wife and I were on our way out to Winnebago, one of the places that we stopped was the Buffalo Bill Museum.
Cool.
And Joel, maybe you can look it up there. I think it's in Iowa, but it's smack dab right on the Mississippi River. It's a tiny little town, but I think it's Buffalo Bill Cody or whatever it is. But
yeah, it's in LeClaire, Iowa.
Okay, it's right on the Mississippi River, and they have a big parking lot there. And I think it was a Friday night that we got there, and tiny little restaurants up on the street that's just above it. So we parked, and as it turned out, there was another RVer there as well. And he plugged into the city street light. So I did the same, and we had power. And then at 4:30, and it was slept great. Okay. And before we went to sleep, we put the lawn chairs out front. Again, when I say the Mississippi River, we were 15 feet from the shore, and all these giant coal barges and other barges are going up and down the river, et cetera. But what I didn't know, because I didn't read the sign that was right near the picnic tables, at 4:00 in the morning, I hear cars coming in, and you're kind of semi-awake. I look up and I see these people pulling boats. They're boat trailers, pickup trucks with boat trailers. And they all parked, and then you could hear them get out of the car, and they're talking a little bit. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. And then they start, again, still total darkness. They're backing the boats down the boat ramp, which was 10 feet away from our RV, and putting the boats in. Again, all I can see is a red light and a green light and a yellow light and the trailers. And all of a sudden I wake up again and the parking lot is filled. And I go over and I see that it was the 15th annual bass fishing tournament on the Mississippi River. I wanted to call Don Barone, but where else could you see that? And like at 5:30 in the morning at first light, they give the signal where they all go out and you hear all the motors, that thing about gentlemen, start your engine. Or now it's just not gentlemen, start your engines. It's drivers, start your engines. And they all take off in different, some go north, some go south, some stayed right around there. But I'm saying to my wife, this is the coolest thing. If we were in a Walmart parking lot or in a traditional campground, we would have never been able to see that. And, the people in the Midwest they are very friendly. And I had three, four people say, hey, you want to come out with us? And, whatever. But without Harvest Host, it wouldn't have been possible.
I love that. I mean, and those are the kinds of stories. If you ask anyone who's a member, everyone has one story that they really remember, and it's something like that. Yeah. What I always say, by the way, I love campgrounds, and our goal is never to compete with campgrounds.
Yep. They have their purpose.
They have a purpose, and we're a complement to campgrounds. Like
Right.
Harvest Host locations, it's boondocking. You're only allowed to stay for like a night, maybe a couple nights if the host invites you to. But you don't have hookups, right? And that's part of the benefit is you're in the vineyards, you're on the farm, you're really boondocking like you're supposed to as an RVer. But then you have to go to a campground to get your hookups. So what I like to say is we compete with the Walmart parking lot. And I appreciate that Walmart, some Walmarts allow you to park, but the reality is I don't think anyone should ever have to stay in a parking lot again. And soon we're going to have enough hosts that you don't have to. And you can pull off the highway and go stay on a nice farm instead of staying at a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart. And it's funny, some people get upset when I say that, and it's not to disparage Walmart. I love Walmart. It's my favorite store. And I appreciate that they let people stay. But you cannot argue that a Walmart parking lot is a better setting than watching the bass fishermen at the Buffalo Bill Museum.
So the question for our viewers, Joel, is would you like to stay in a Walmart parking lot or would you like to stay here?
Exactly. That's the question.
Yeah. Ed Laturco's got a question. I'm going to throw it up and let you answer it for him. Ed's a good friend of mine going back 30, 40 years. Can you see that question, Joel?
Yeah, I see that. Yep. At this point, where does the new venture take you looking ahead? It's a great question, Ed. So for me, Harvest Host is a passion project, right? So the last business I started did really well. I sold it and I had the luxury of being able to do something that I wanted to do. And so for me, Harvest Host is just something I really enjoy. And I really enjoy helping more RVers experience what I've experienced, staying at these locations. So looking forward, my goal is to grow the program, but not ever sell it out, right? Like grow it in a classy way so that we always have a good group of members who are respectful of the hosts, a great network of hosts who are excited to have our members. And that's kind of it, right? Like I don't sit down and have financial planning to try to grow by a certain amount every year. I just want to keep making the program better. And so I think we'll just do that.
Some of our fans are very shy, Joel, but this one comes out of her skin every now and then.
I can't endorse that because if I did, people would crucify me.
But Jerry got an interesting point here, though, because I know on the site you ask people, be fair to the host and give them a day or two advance notice. Jerry says he finds several that don't require advance. You want to cover that just so we're all clear on that?
Yeah, it's a good point. So what we say is just always make sure, so when you look up a host either through the app or on the website, there's a host page and it gives you good information usually about where you're going to park, who you're going to ask for. Yep. Some of them, like the Mount Washington Cog Railway, which is an awesome place. Some of them don't require that you call ahead. You can just show up, and it says right there, just show up because they're so large. But the vast majority do require that you at least call ahead, even if it's the same day. Call to make sure that they have space for you, because a lot of these wineries have weddings going on or they have special events, and sometimes there just isn't room, which is understandable. So yeah, please always make sure you call ahead unless the host page says not to.
Okay. Hey, Joel, one important point, I think that it's a real selling point, and I'm sure that you thought of it already, but I'll tell you what we appreciated is that most of the locations that we visited were not in big tourist areas. So you didn't have giant crowds and you weren't in, I love Branson, Missouri, but you're not going to go there and get non-chain food. It's all chain stuff. The cities that we visited and the places that we went to that were your facilities were all in tiny towns that allowed us to go into local restaurants. Yeah. And, one of the things that I think RVers do just as good as drinking beer is eat. And you know what? To find a local restaurant that's not the same every place. And again, we like In-N-Out Burger because there's none out in the East. So when we're out West, we always head those. But we found some local restaurants. And it's funny because some of the places you walk in and everybody knows you don't live there. And they come over and say, hey, where are you from, man? That kind of thing. And if you want local flavor as far as food is concerned, I just don't think that there's a better opportunity than what you have here.
Well, you know what? These women are feisty tonight. Laurie and Michelle have arrived at Cape Cod because I know they're doing a Jerry and the boys down at Mage's RV are doing an installation of a WineGuard Connect 2 on the Lance camper for a segment on Rolling on TV. So they're down at Bayview Campground, and she says the Wi-Fi sucks. Well, so well, Michelle, it's you and Laurie. You're down the Cape. You got a nice campground. I know there's a glass of wine in each of your hand. It's not like life is so terrible down on the Cape tonight. So you got to take everything in perspective. Let's do a quick.
Okay, everybody share. Okay, that's quick.
That was quick, but do it.
Share, everybody. Share it on Facebook so we can reach thousands of people.
Okay,
this is a great show. We're going to get thousands of views well after this.
Joe, just so people realize, because you've done such a great job of putting facilities, this is the map that's on your website. I mean, are you in all 50 states now? It looks like you're close.
Yeah, so we're almost. So we're not in Hawaii yet, but we actually do have. We had a couple of hosts apply from Hawaii, so very soon we'll have all 50 states. But yeah, all the lower 48. We have Alaska, some really nice places in Alaska, and then we have every Canadian province and Baja California and Mexico. So it's a pretty good, like North America is pretty well covered. And this map that you're showing, this actually doesn't even include golf courses. So if you click on the golf courses, then all of a sudden you'll see another 350 locations pop up. So yeah, the goal is to try to have a good distribution. A lot of times, it's like John was mentioning, nice small towns off the beaten path, but not too far off. And so you'll notice that a lot of them, right, a lot of them are pretty close to the highways.
The interstate, at least.
That's right. They're usually close to the interstates because RVers don't love back roads. We try not to make people go back roads.
Especially with 45 footers.
That's right. But we try to have them everywhere. So you can go, you don't have to drive too far to find a Harvest Host location.
Okay, so Michelle down there.
We got some
great new features on the website. Host along the route is a
very good question about arrival hours.
Yes, that's a good question too. So the other
hey, Joel, don't pump her up. She gets a big head when we tell her how nice she is. She kind of gets a big head. So
she's asking great questions. It's hard not to pump her up. You're doing a wonderful job, Audrey. So the showing up. So this takes a little extra planning as an RVer because some of us do long days and show up at the campgrounds at night, right? But for a Harvest Host location, you want to get there before the business closes, so that you can go inside and do some wine tasting, try the products. And so our website always tells you what time it closes, and basically you can figure out when you need to get there. But a lot of times it's by 5 o'clock, right? Like as a rough estimate, like, some places close at 6 or 7, but it always says it on the website. And so you just have to plan ahead, make sure your travel day starts early enough and you're not driving too far, so you can get there and enjoy the business.
And the places themselves are nice places. It's not like you're just going to use the parking lot to sleep. Right.
I mean, yeah. Look at this picture Bob has up here. I'd show up at noon and spend the whole day there.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully somebody's driving that Airstream and they just didn't leave it there. Let's have a
truck. No, I noticed on the site though. And Joel, you do a fifth wheel in a truck. But they'll let you disconnect and go visit town just as you would with a car, so you can leave the unit there.
Yeah, you really are. I felt like I was like one of the family at all the places we went to, and the Shipshawana there at the Amish Mennonite place, whatever it was there, was right in the middle of the main road that we could, even though we have a motorhome and don't tow, we could park there and walk to the restaurants. Bob, that's where we went to the Blue Gate restaurant there.
Blue Gate restaurant in Shipshawana. I may stop there if we dip down that way a little bit. So we got the big boss at Rolling on TV, Joel. He says we have to get together. We're going to doing a segment on our show all about Harvest Host. So
Joel, I want to do that one. I mean, Jose, I want to do that one.
I want to do it.
Let's all do it. Let's caravan. How fun would that be?
Michelle and Laurie want to do it.
Imagine the three of us at one, the four of us, Michelle come along, like the five of us, Jose, like let's just all pick a location and just do a takeover for a night. That'd be a bunch of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
It'd be the last time they allowed us.
One fewer Harvest Host locations, but it'll be a great show.
That would be a fun time. That would actually work out really well. Tom, here's another suggestion from our good buddy Tom and his boys up there. And Tom, is you and John celebrate? How many people do you get up there with yourselves tonight? But Tom had a big boating career, if you will, or enjoyment before he started to do RV. He says yacht clubs also let me put it up there. Yacht clubs also invite RVs, as I am the past commodore of SYC, which I maybe is Syracuse or what's the SYC, Tom? And take a group in every year.
SYC is yacht club.
Yeah, it's yacht club. Yeah, but I'm thinking if it's Syracuse or if it's up by it may be Saratoga. He's up by Saratoga.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah,
and I love this idea, by the way. And Thomas says, send me an email. It's just joel@harvesthosts.com. Because I'd like to explore. I've actually reached out to the Yachting Club of America to see, and I unfortunately have not been able to get in touch with them, but to see if they'd be interested in potentially selling, right? Because I think just like the RV Golf Club, it'd be cool to purchase a bunch of marina inventory. And because marinas they're gorgeous. Not all of them have room, but yacht clubs and marinas are wonderful locations. And to start adding those to our network would be phenomenal.
Well, I think so. And I'm guessing, but I noticed up in Maine, because I was up around Sebago last week, but a lot of the marinas up there, they actually have boat rentals. So if you are a boater, but you're an RVer now, and you want to get back on the lake for a half a day or something, you do a harvest host at a yacht club and in a marina, and then you rent a boat for a half a day. Pretty
cool. I mean, in RVing and boating, they are like first cousins, right? It's just like one's on the water, one's on the land. Yeah. But there are a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, there's some great comments here. Jose says it has to be a winery for Michelle. And we've talked about wineries and golf courses, but farms, we stayed at a farm right near the casinos in Connecticut. And let me tell you one thing. My granddaughter absolutely had a blast because there was an area where she could go in and actually pet the animals. And, we haven't really talked about farms, but farms, especially in New England, there are some phenomenal learning experiences for kids at these farms. And they're not commercial. They're real live farms that people actually make.
Susan Chandanette, and thank you for joining us tonight, Susan. I'm not sure if you've been on before, but I'm glad to have you tonight. She says, I've used Harvest Host 3 times now, once at a local buffalo farm in Haverhill, Mass. Our funny story is a buffalo got loose, and it was fun watching them corral him. The other one was in an apple orchard in Western Mass, and that's always big with the fall, when fall gets here. It was amazing. And our third was a local brewery in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where we had a great dinner with entertainment. Which one was that, Susan? Because I know, what's the one that's up there? Shipyard? No.
Brewery?
Oh, Smutty Nose. Smutty Nose was up there. I'm not sure. They had a change in management, but I think they have a restaurant now, so it might have been Smutty Nose on that. But I'm going to leave your email address up there, because we will promote our New England friends to send you a bunch of people that'll keep Don really busy, filling up the 6 New England states. So Susan, thank you for those hints. But yeah, when you think about it, we have a bunch of apple orchards, which would be fantastic come the fall, and we got the ski areas. Man, there's so much. As Ed said, Cisco. Cisco is a brewery. Man, I missed one up in New Hampshire, Susan. I don't know.
Jose is getting a little sketchy here. There, no cattle farms, because Michelle Wright tried doing her bull riding again. Is that an inside story, Bob? Do you know anything about that?
I do not know about Michelle's bull riding. No.
And I think Jose is taking advantage of the fact that Michelle has poor internet service, so she's a defenseless young lady.
Well, Yeah. Also, she's on the other side of Cape Cod, so we better watch out. She's actually not that, she's not that far from Mattapoisett, Joe. She's in your backyard. You better watch out.
But interestingly, if Michelle got right in the water, right near that campground in Falmouth, and went straight across, she'd be in Fairhaven.
Yep.
Right, which is right near Mattapoisett, Jose. So lock those doors tonight.
Yeah. All right. Tom says the S is for Schenectady. Schenectady Yacht Club. They could do that.
Joel, see, we don't even have to. Bob and I do not prepare questions because we know we get better content from our guests than if we had a sheet of 10 questions to ask you before the show.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I think that's one of the coolest things about doing a live show like this. It's very, it's very engaging.
You got the best one.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left, and we try not to go over too much because people are really kind to give us an hour of their Wednesday night each week. But what do people not know about Harvest Host that you would like them to know? You've done a great job talking about the history and what have you, but is there something else there that's really special? Don't want to leave anything out.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for the warning.
I love the company so much I bought it. I mean, that's the truth. I think it's one of the most special things in the RV community, and I wouldn't be promoting it if my wife and I didn't love it so much. So
you should check that line as far as trademark and service. Vic has been in the ground now for about 20 or 30 years. So
that's right. We'll see. He might come after me.
It may be available.
Yeah. Well, but no, I think, another question we covered that pets are great. Most hosts allow pets. You can call usually the same day, but just make sure you always call ahead. Another question we often get is, who do you allow into the program? And the answer is, as long as you're a self-contained RVer, so you have a unit that has a bathroom inside, some sort of, cooking facilities inside.
No tenting.
No tenting, right? So, and that's important. No tenting and no car camping, right? So you have to be self-contained, right? You have to be an RVer, and the definition has changed over time. So we have schoolies, we have conversion vans, of course, we have every class of RV. As long as you can come in, and leave with all the same liquids, leave nothing at the host, then you're good. Yeah, it's very important. It's the leave no trace, mentality. And I often say, pretend you're visiting your grandmother, right? You always want to leave her place a little better than you found it.
That's fantastic. And you can add one new one then too, is arrive with an empty storage compartment underneath. So that you'll have someplace to put all this wine and fruits and vegetables and all the things that you buy at the museum.
That's right. That's right. Or if you're in a class B, just arrive really thirsty and just drink a lot.
But more important than that is arrive and depart with memories.
Yes. Grab a story. I mean, grab a really cool story. I mean, and it's not hard to do.
Not at all.
That is fantastic.
Look, there's still people writing notes in. And you know what, folks? Joel, let me ask you, and I know Bob wants to ask you as well, but I thought of it first, so I'll ask you. Normally, we monitor these because the vast majority of the thousands of views that we get, they're going to be on replay. They're not going to be live because, it can't be 7 o'clock at the same time everywhere in the country. So we share them to about 40 different Facebook and LinkedIn sites. If you would be so kind in the next couple of days, if you can just go through the questions,
Sure.
And our format allows you to answer the question right there because people might want to know more. And we will do that as well. We'll also be checking for the people who've purchased so that we can get them their sunglasses. But again, the vast majority of the people are going to be watching on replay.
Yeah, Audrey, I put his email address up there, so I thought you would have copied it. But she wants to go to work for you, Joel. You did such a good job promoting the company tonight. You probably recruit a whole couple of new people. Audrey, good New England ambassador. That's what you need now. That's the other thing you want to add now. Some ambassadors that can feed all some of these properties into logo.
They got a 40-footer. They got a diesel pusher. Put a nice logo on that thing. And there is a referral program, is there not, Joel?
That's right. Yeah. So yep. As a member, you can use our referral program and actually give out discounts to your friends, and you earn $15 for every sign up. So we want everyone to get a little something for helping us grow, and that is a great program. And then all of our employees are remote. That's the other cool thing about this company. We are all over the place, and many of us are RVers, and so we're always looking for creative ways to get some help, some ambassadors, host recruiters. We have different ways of paying for different things that people can help us with. So yeah, shoot me an email, Audrey, and love to chat.
Hey, what about before we go? We always tend to run a little bit over, but what are you doing about RV shows? Because it just dawned on me that we have the big we're responsible for the big Boston show every January, but there's probably 10 or 12 of them in New England. So some of these ambassadors, I know Tom could probably give me some information because Tom used to exhibit at our show and recruit FMCA members. But what are you doing in that regard of having some of your customers actually staff booths come next winter at the consumer RV shows in their local areas? So like I say, we must have 12 in New England. Right.
No, that's interesting. So we're doing a test this year. Is our first. So we attend events, and you saw the picture of my RV. It's wrapped in Harvest Host. I like to throw parties, so I go to the campgrounds near an event, and I'll throw parties for people to come and hang out. But we're actually trying our first actual booth presence at the Hershey Show coming up this September, and you'll be great. So I went last year. It was it's a great big show, a lot of activity. So this year we have a booth in one of the halls. 2 of our employees are going to be taking care of the booth, and that's going to be our experiment to kind of see how it goes, right? Because it's always a lot of work getting all the stuff there.
I remember seeing a Harvest Host display at an FMCA show up in Essex Junction. I don't know whether it was yours then or whether it was still the prior people. I think it was
that would have been the prior people when they were up there. Yeah, that would have been the prior people.
But we have now sponsored some FMCA events as well as escapees and escapers. And so sometimes, even though we're not there physically, what we'll do is become a sponsor, so that we're on the signage and in the little bags. So we'll be there in spirit. And then the nice thing is tons of our members are there. And so as our signage is around, the members can start the conversations for us. But this year we're going to try to be at escapers at the Big Bash. So that'll be fun. So we're starting to do more of that. Actually, I love it.
Well, I know you like Boston, so you ought to plan to come to Boston in January and take a booth in our show.
Yeah.
And promote it, and then I'll let you do a seminar on Harvest. I'll put on a seminar program, and then you can talk to our guests. We have 17,500 people, but they're the cream of the crop.
The best of the best, as New Englanders are.
And, it's Boston, and it is right down at the seaport here. We should talk about that.
We should. Well, because this year, usually in January, I'm very busy skiing. But this year, I because of my knee injury, I can't ski this year. So I plan to be on the East Coast in January. So we should talk about this. That'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, January 24, 25, 26. All right, we could probably talk for another hour. We certainly will have you back again, Joel. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I know our folks, they got 64 comments, and we didn't get a lot of them. Bill Muncie, any shows in Maine? Yes, there's the Vacation Land RV show toward the end of March or April at.
Look at Jose's comment. Jose is really, he's frisky tonight.
It is not diluted. It's just the ice melted. We were talking so much, I let it get away from me, and the ice melted. And I did see a comment earlier from Jesse saying
also, Jose, people don't like to put ice cubes in their bourbon, right? It waters it down.
This Jack Daniels is not bourbon, Joel. We've had this conversation. And I noticed Jesse put up there Maker's Mark in Louisville would be good. But Jesse, we don't talk about Maker's Mark on this show. We talk about Jack Daniels. But that's okay.
However, if Maker's Mark wants to sponsor it, we'll gladly make you put that Jack Daniels in a red Solo cup.
That we could do that too. All right. Susan says that Cisco used to be the Red Hook Brewery. Okay, near Peace. Okay, now I know what you mean, Susan. Thank you. Let me see if there's anything real here. No cattle farms because Michelle. All right, we will all go back through and add to the comments. If you have comments yourself, you want to talk.
discount
is
NERVDA, NERVDA.
Yep,
Right.
and just enter that on the second page of registration. You'll see a coupon code field, and I'll drop the price to $67.15 a year, and that's good for as long as you stay a member.
And you know what? That more than covers one night. I mean, one night in the campground in New England is going to cost you that.
Right. 15% discount. And don't forget the first 5 do you still have your sunglasses there, Elvis?
That's right. Here they are.
There you go. Don't get excited, but all right. First 5 people, we will give you a set of the lovely Harvest Host purple and white sunglasses.
And I'm going to send 10 of them, so we can give away 10 of them.
Okay,
They're so cool.
10. Okay.
Sounds good. Any closing comments, Mr. DePietro?
No, I think it was a great show, Joel. Thank you so much. We look forward to meeting you in person when you come to New England this fall and or winter, whatever it is. I think you said you're coming in the fall.
Yep.
And Bob and I are looking forward to taking you to some real either seafood restaurants or Italian restaurants in the North End.
Perfect.
And,
Get some good Italian food. And before we go, I keep forgetting, I have to add this every week now. We are converting the shows to podcasts. So if you can't watch us on your computer, you can download the full show on our podcast link, which you can find on the nerdda.com website.
Hey, Bob,
all right,
I'm thinking this as we speak with no thought, which is usually the way I talk.
Well, we don't think.
What we should consider doing is doing an event and promoting it live, where our audience can come and would be at a place like when Joel comes to New England, we'll do it at a dealership or something and let people come and do it live.
Well, it's a great idea because that's a great idea, John, because the new version, Studio 2 of Be Live, we can have 2 cameras.
Right.
So we can actually have one on the host and the guest, but one on the studio audience. So yeah, we'll stick that into our plans too. Maybe we'll do it this summer. Maybe we'll do it down at the Good Sam event down at Normandy Farms in September,
right.
The charitable event. Maybe we'll do it down there.
Exactly.
Well,
okay,
say hello to your lovely wife. You've been doing
Will do.
fantastic for this year, and I know you'll double it again next year. So we look forward to staying in touch with you, and we definitely will see you at Hershey. We will be down there.
Good. Yeah. See Hershey. See you in New England. Thanks, John.
Yep.
Thanks, Bob. Always a pleasure.
All right, take care. Good night now.
Good night, everyone. See y'all.